you should be able to trust that God provides for you then, if you're within that structure of Christianity then, for example, but the church has been the biggest, gold herder of them all.
Of course it has. Yeah. And then it tells you to read the Lord's Prayer. If you're really, really reading the Lord's Prayer, then you can't have anything to do with the Christian religion as an institution. You just can't. Because what does it say? It says, give us this day our daily bread.
Yeah.
Okay, let me repeat that slowly. Give us this day our daily bread. It says this day, not this week, not this month, not this lifetime. So what the Lord's Prayer is telling you is that if you truly and utterly have a bowl that is empty, and you come to the universal order for this day's bread, the universe will always supply it. But as soon as you say, well, I got 2 bowls, I need a little extra, then you're in violation of the universal economy.
Yeah.
And the universal matrix, the universal presence, steps back and goes, sorry, you're in breach. You're greedy, you want too much. Give us this day. The person whose mentality is non-acquisitive is always provided for. You don't have too many of those people around, but let's just imagine that there are some. This is a being who comes with an open bowl every morning. He's not in excess. I want people to really meditate on that word excess in all of its permutations. If you're in excess, then you're in violation of the natural order. So why should that natural order ever fill your bowl or give you more? So then, of course, you'll turn to what? You'll turn to the enslavement of human beings. I don't care if it's under the name of statistics or economy or military or social. You are now in the chain, you're now in the flow of lack. You're impoverished, you're coming from lack, and therefore you now need to subjugate, you see, and have more, and hoard more. Which, of course, as you say, the church has been doing, but the royal families have been doing. Every man is doing it. Every man, woman, and child is doing it. Look at the excess of stuff.
That's right.
Simplicity is meaningless. Some Native American Indian said, he said, I was amazed when I watched human beings in the West stuff themselves with food until their stomachs are so overcrowded. Wait till they're starving and then eat to capacity till they can't move.
Yeah.
Well, this is the glut of the affluenza, which is coming from which is rampant in the world. The idea being is that if you really were meditating on the meaning of this, you would never approach the universe in excessiveness, because you realize you're only living and breathing right now. Now, there's a strange prosperity law hidden in the middle of that Lord's Prayer, which says that if you truly do have the absolute faith, then you will never go without. But you have to manifest that in your own life and really believe it. And I also endorse, some of the other prosperity messages also. One of them being that, nobody has your money bags in your hand except yourself. And all of that. But, just going back to the question of religion, the incredible double standards, we will laugh at some African Oriental millennial cult that's just committed mass suicide, or the Solar Temple or Jim Jones. We'll all sort of, when that comes on the headlines, we'll just have a good laugh and almost be awestruck. And we don't realize that we're in a cult wall to wall that has millions and millions of deaths. Half a dozen people kill themselves, some cockeyed, crazy cult. What about the 100 Years' War? What about, the 30 Years' War? What about the incredible, up to recent times, slaughters and massacres? I mean, the Jesuits. When we've done shows on the Jesuits, what kind of crimes can we lay at their door? Of the horrors that these people have perpetrated. There's an interesting quote by a guy called Kersey Graves. Kersey Graves is one of my biggest influences. On my astrotheology pages, I have an important section. People go to the Taroscope's website, they can get involved with the teachings of this incredible man. And he wrote in his Bible of Bibles, he said that the Quaker Church, of which this author was once a member, have a clause in their discipline forbidding their members to read pernicious books. Such books and publications as contain language which appears to sanction crime or wrong practices or which teach bad morals. Then he goes on to say, the Christian Bible may be ranked, with works of this character, according to Graves. And he's absolutely right. How that, the amount of vile things, that is in the Bible. And there's your contradiction. That you Quakers are saying we ban all pernicious books, but they adore the Bible.
Sure.
Now, I've got problems with why somebody would want to make the center of their religion the Bible. He says it's always confounded me. And anyone who's sane enough to read what it's really saying there, written by a very instructed author like Kersey Graves, will have to agree.
What about the idea that, because that keeps coming up, that the work that the writers of the Bible, that what they received were, the inspired word of God, and since that time, no one else can have, being inspired by God. It seems like, but it seems like a very, again, a very, as you say, it again confirms the hierarchy idea that you talked about earlier. That, you get this from somewhere from up high, and then you put it down in the Bible, and we even know that books have been taken out of the Bible for various reasons and stuff like that. But now we have this book, and how can you penetrate a psyche that has that idea that, okay, this has been handed down from God, Himself through other people, and here it is, follow it, or how can you get through to someone like that? I mean, it's impossible.
You see, this whole cultism again, this whole sectarianism again. We've got the answer. Not only that, but this answer was provided by God. Then, since God must be perfect, this is a completely perfect system that doesn't need to evolve.
Yeah, sure.
The idea there is to shut off any development. You're a man. You don't need to be developing it.
Yeah.
God has already manifested it, and if He's manifested it complete. So what we've got here is a complete system. Do you know how absolutely refreshing that is to most people, to get them off the hook of doing any real study or any kind of real, as I said, it's an assault on consciousness. They don't want you to be a rational animal.
Yeah.
One of my greatest heroes is Ayn Rand, and she said that man is free to choose not to be conscious. An incredible statement, because she's admitting you have choice.
Yeah, that's right.
We got that far. Great. Man is free to choose not to be conscious, but not free to escape the penalty of unconsciousness, which is destruction. So she's saying, by all means, choose unconsciousness, but then with it will come a heavy price, which is destructiveness.
Right. Yeah.
So that's exactly what is happening here. That when you buy into these homogenized, packaged things, it's turning off your, you don't need to develop, so you become arrested. Well, any garden, that works like that, any system that doesn't grow, that doesn't develop, this will eventually decay, because of course we know that nature has to have change, has to have constant refreshing, and it has a catabolic action. There is no catabolic action in religion. There's only fixity. There's only conformity. There's only regimentation. There's only clustering. There's only a pathological fixity. But as I was saying, wouldn't that be the perfect glue to hold together a fractured consciousness? A fractured mind? Obedience. Don't balk the system. Don't ask any questions, or you're of the devil.
Yeah.
And Edmund Burke, a man who himself was always on the run, from authority, the great Irish scholar, he said that people never give up their liberties, but under some delusion. And that delusion is no different than it was in the 1500s or the 13th century, you see, or from the, or than it is now. And we need to really realize our level of our delusion. Around about the time of the Inquisitions, around about the time of the Dark Ages, not only was man doing the most unhealthy things to other men, but then didn't the plague break out? Didn't you have also nature, didn't you have a physical component of pestilence and disease?
That's right.
Look what's happening. Look what's happening today. Ever heard of bird flu? Or not that it exists, but I'm just saying that. Do you see the comparisons? That we are fixated about what? Bodily unhealth. There's the gremlins, the bugs, AIDS. Oh my goodness, HIV, whatever. Bird flu. The flu, other pathogens. At the same time as we are the most repressive, right? These cultish types of evangelical. Which I don't. Evangelism is not Christianity. You see, any more than Zionism is Judaism. We're talking about different things here.
Yeah.
So, isn't it incredible that there's again parallels? That we're obsessed today by disease and ill health, at the same time as we've also become conformist in our religions. It's a strange parallel to me. And there was a Gregory in. It was a letter to Saint Jerome, actually, from a guy called Gregory of Nazianzus. Nazianzus, Gregory of Nazianzus, writing to Saint Jerome, said that a little jargon is all that is necessary to impose upon the people. The less they comprehend, the more they admire. So the founding fathers of Christianity were literally admitting it, that don't feed these people with knowledge, get them out of their reason. And that is why you see, even there's an incredible quote from a man called Johann Lorenz von Mosheim, a very important writer from the 17th century. He was a church historian from Germany, Johann Lorenz von Mosheim. And he said that by far the greatest part of those who embraced the